right, and welcome to the Poor Man's Playbook Instant Reaction. It's currently 12:11 a.m. Eastern Time, Sunday morning. I got the UCLA Utah game on. Can say I'm pretty upset. pretty upset today. We're just going to do a quick rundown of all of our games. I'm going to log in whether we lost, won it, and we're going to tally up our totals for this week and how big of losers we are. We both had pretty bad weeks.
That's an understatement.
An understatement. I'm not even going to talk about all of the hockey bets I've taken this week that I've lost on. but
I'm hoping I'm about to win on one tonight.
yeah, we're hoping so. Hoping so. We need it. Oh, fourth and 5 right now. UCLA drops back, gets hammered, throws the ball away. That's great. That's what I would do on a 4th and 5 as well. Is I would throw the ball away.
I'm watching the San Diego State game.
Another solid game.
This kicker, they called a timeout, and the kicker just missed the field goal. It was short, and they're still letting him go out and attempt it for some reason.
It's ridiculous. All right. Our first game at noon opened up. It was Iowa at Wisconsin. We both had Iowa plus 3.5 locked up. On paper, this game makes sense. But on the field, it did not. I mean, there was back-to-back fumbles. I only got to watch the first half, kind of. I mean, I didn't even watch that much of the game because I was at work all day. But it was just appalling how bad Iowa played.
Yeah, I just saw the score when I was at work, and it was honestly just made me want to throw up a little bit.
It made me sick. It was a bad omen to start the day. Then we hopped over to Michigan at Michigan State. Both had
that was such a good game. I got to go on break right when the fourth quarter started. Man, that game got me so hyped for the rest of the day. I came home, watched them make a 16-point comeback. Kenneth Walker III showed why he deserved to be the Heisman, or in the running for the Heisman. 5 touchdowns on 195 yards. I think he averaged almost 9 yards a carry. That's basically a first down every time he touched the ball.
Yeah, he was great. I saw that stat line. Like I said, I didn't really get to watch much of it, but I saw that stat line. I was blown away. I mean, what a play! Like, what a game he had.
Like, that's a Heisman moment. Not just one, but 5. That's 5 Heisman moments in a top 10 matchup against one of your biggest rivals.
I mean, are we thinking? I mean, Michigan State. I mean, hey, they could be a playoff team.
Because I mean, we'll get to that later in this pod.
If they could get through the Big Ten, if they can get through the Big Ten championship, I mean that's a playoff caliber team right there.
I mean, because after today, I respected Michigan, but after today, I somehow gained more respect for them despite the loss. Like they still looked really good. Their quarterback McNamara, he had a really good game, and I mean that was just a good game to watch between two rivals in the kind of middle to beginning of the late end of the season. So that was a great game. Both teams are really good this year, so it was exciting, and I really think if Michigan State they still got to play Ohio State and Penn State, but they got a chance. That's a good Michigan team. If they can go and beat Ohio State and Penn State, or just beat Ohio State and make it to the Big Ten championship, like you said, they're a playoff caliber team.
They're a playoff team. I mean, they're going to be either number 6 or number 5 after this. So that was a great outing from them. Next game I had Florida State at Clemson. Florida State -9. This game was pretty much a lock at -9 for the entire game up until the very end when Clemson decided to score another touchdown, right? Score a touchdown, even though they were winning the game.
On the hook and ladder, and the guy recovered it at the 1 yard line and just fell in.
Yeah.
No,
Absolute heartbreaker. I didn't even get to watch it, but you know,
it
ouch.
was hard to watch.
My next game, this was kind of a dumb pick, but I had Georgia at Florida. Florida plus 14.5.
I
Florida had
agree.
like three back-to-back-to-back turnovers, which you really cannot do against Georgia. Georgia went out quick and then shut them out. I think it was 34-7 was the final score. So obviously not within 14.5. So thank you, Dan Mullen, and thank you, Florida.
That's why you should not bet on the Gators.
I was more of fading Georgia than betting on the Gators, but
I,
yes.
I didn't mean to root against one of your picks, but there's nothing. Even though I had other picks losing, nothing puts a smile on my face quite like watching Florida just get completely stomped.
Yeah. All right. Next game, Ole Miss at Auburn. Hey, thanks, Lane Kiffin,
Um,
for screwing us
Lane
over.
Kiffin, you might. If I was the Ole Miss athletic director, obviously I wouldn't do it, but it'd go through my mind to fire Lane Kiffin for such horrible coaching decisions in this game. There were twice. You're down 8. It's fourth down. Hit the field goal. You're down by 5. They don't. They don't convert. Auburn's next drive, they go down, they hit a field goal. Oh, it'd still be an 8-point game if you hit the field goal the last time. But they hit their field goal, and then you go down by 11 with about 5 minutes left. Should we hit the field goal and make this a one possession game? Or should we make the same mistake we already did because the analytics guy that looks like he's crapping his pants right behind you says you should go for it on fourth down? Oh, and what do? You draw an absolutely horrid play that basically wins Auburn the game. So, Lane Kiffin, you deserve to have not just that golf ball thrown at you from the Tennessee game, you deserve to have 100 golf balls thrown at you for being such a horrible coach today.
Yeah, that was a despicable performance. Also, I don't understand why Ole Miss lost this game. I mean, they were not in control in one bit of this game. I mean, I guess got to check the score. I didn't get to watch it, but
31 to
every time
20
I
was the
checked
final
it,
score.
it was Auburn was in the captain's seat. I don't understand why this happened. I had him at +3. Obviously, didn't hit. Tony, this was your money line. Not good for your money line. Not
No.
good for your money line stats. You are bad at picking the games. I gotta tell you, man.
I the
You're
worst
really
part
bad at
is the worst
them.
part is I was it was till the last second of my pick where it was between either picking Ole Miss money line or West Virginia money line against Iowa State. But I thought the West Virginia pick was too risky, but I guess I'm a fool and I should have gone with West Virginia. So Lane Kiffin, screw you.
Yeah. Next pick I had was Penn State at Ohio State University. I had him +19. That was a good pick.
That
Like
was a
all the
solid
way.
pick. That was a
That was
good
a solid
game.
pick. Yeah,
Yeah,
I only got to check the score, but I was watching. It was a thriller. It looked like, you know. I mean,
it was
I mean,
pretty back
I'm
and
not.
forth.
I put a little bit of thought into it, but I really just thought that Penn State wasn't that bad of a football team.
And you were
Um,
right.
and I was right. Hey, they only lost by 9, so get some Vegas. Big winner that time. Okay, our next game we both bet on. It's still going on. It's UCLA at Utah. I have him +6. Tony has him +6.5. And we're currently watching them lose by 18 points right now, but they just got the ball back, so that's exciting. So we'll talk about that at the end a little more in detail. Next game I had was Virginia Tech at Georgia Tech. Virginia Tech money line. Let's go Hokies. No doubt in my mind from the beginning of this game. No
That
doubt.
was a good pick.
No doubt in my mind. That was great. You know, I'm just happy to see them lose.
I know
So
you do.
I don't like Georgia Tech. So you know, big time, big happy about that. And hey, it was a +160 money line. I mean,
That's pretty good.
yeah, it's not bad. It was my biggest win of the day. And I really thought things were going to go really well today because I lost Iowa and I was like, whatever. But Michigan State and Virginia Tech hit, and I was like, okay, this is it right here. This is it. Like I'm gonna have a great day. Like I could still go 7-1. And then obviously things started tumbling downhill. Speaking of tumbling downhill, let's talk about Kenny Pickett and Pittsburgh
Oh
losing
my
by
gosh.
4 to Miami
What
while
are
at home.
what are the odds that Miami wins back-to-back games against top 25 teams after looking so bad all year?
It's the same thing
I
with Wisconsin, though. It's the same thing with Wisconsin. Wisconsin looks so bad, and all of a sudden now they're turning it up.
I
These
just and
these late games. Ugh.
and it wasn't even that Kenny Pickett had a bad game.
No, can I read the stat line?
Yeah,
39,
please.
39 of 55 passes were completed. 39,
Mm.
right? 519 yards and 3 touchdowns. How do you lose a game? How do you
And
lose that game?
and as he did it, he broke Dan Marino's, I believe. He broke his record for most touchdown responsible. I think I'm wrong. Let me look it up. You talk about this real quick.
Yeah, I mean it was. I mean I can't believe it. I didn't have any action on that game. I know you had a lot. You had Pittsburgh minus 9.5. Just unreal. I mean, Jordan Addison, Pittsburgh receiver, had 8 receptions for 145 yards. Jalen Knighton, their running back, had I mean, he didn't have a great game on the ground, but he averaged more than 4 yards per carry and had 2 touchdowns. It's unreal. I guess it's actually I'm sorry, Jalen Knighton is Miami's running back, but still unreal that Pittsburgh lost this game. I'm just honestly surprised. Um,
Yeah, it was Dan Marino. Okay, I was right.
good,
But
good.
yeah, I'm still shocked about this. I kind of put that in the back of my memory, but I don't know how you let Miami score 38 and then I'm just like I really don't know how this happened. Miami is not a good football team, but all of a sudden they barely lost to UNC, who's not bad, and then you go and beat NC State and Pittsburgh. And I said before on our pod that Pittsburgh was the best team in the ACC, but I'm sorry,
It's
Wake
Wake
Forest.
Forest. It's
I'm
Wake Forest.
I'm sorry, Demon Deacons. It's you guys, and I really
It's them
don't know
by
if
a
that's
mile. It's them
I
by a mile now. I mean, you don't.
it is, and it's not even honestly, it's not saying much since the ACC has just been so bad this year. Like anytime someone starts to gain momentum, they lose. I think Wake
Yeah.
Forest is going to be the only ranked ACC team going into next week. So I'm sorry, Wake Forest. I guess you are the best ACC team, so we might as well cancel the ACC championship and just give you all the
I
trophy
mean,
right now.
right now, the way the ACC championship is shaping up to be, it's going to be Pittsburgh versus Wake Forest in the ACC championship, and Wake Forest is undefeated.
I'm really not sure
I
how
mean, I
that.
can't believe there can only be like what 5 teams left undefeated.
I think they just showed it in the San Diego State game. I think it was 8 or less teams. So it was like between 8 and 6 teams left that are undefeated. And Wake Forest is one of them, along with San Diego State, probably won't be after today, and Texas San Antonio. I really don't know how to feel about that.
I don't either. I don't even know what to think.
It makes me a little uncomfortable that Wake Forest is 8-0.
But I do know is that Wake Forest is a top 10 football team now. Wake Forest
Top
is better than
15.
Iowa.
Oh, by a mile.
Wake Forest is number 13 this week, and they beat the crap out of Duke. Not that Duke's any good, but still, things are
Yeah, at
getting
least you're
shaken
not
up.
Iowa, who decides to be number 2 in the nation and lose back-to-back games. So, congrats, Iowa. You
Well,
really
congratulations, Iowa, for
you
having
fumbled the bag.
what we all thought was this absolute defensive stalwart of a team, and then all of a sudden it's just like, where is this defense? Why can you not stop mediocre passing attack? I don't want to talk about Iowa anymore. Our next game we're going to go into is Oregon State at California. What the hell, Beavers? What are we doing?
We are
What
no
is
longer
we doing?
we
We are
are no
no
longer
longer fans of
undefeated.
Oregon State.
I am once again. I don't know how they lost
And they
to
didn't just
Cal.
lose; they got beat up. Like,
To
they got beat
Cal.
up. I don't get it. It doesn't. It makes no sense to me how this happened because I checked the score and I was like, you know what? I know this is a surefire game. I was like, I got this. I got this in the bag, right?
Because they were
And I
down
even
by
got the
two
points on it.
touchdowns.
Exactly. I checked the score and it's like, oh, Cal's up by 10. Whatever, whatever. Oh, it's 17-7 or whatever. It's fine. It's fine. 17-10 going into halftime. I was like, whatever. It's fine. I'm okay with this. And all of a sudden, it's just like Cal does not stop. I mean,
No.
I don't understand how a team that's 3-5 and plays in the Pac-12 just did that to Oregon State.
39-25. What an odd score line. I don't know how to feel about looking at that.
I don't either.
It's just it's really disappointing for Oregon State to help us out, be so strong, and then after beating Utah, you come out and you're like, huh, let's just not beat Cal.
Yeah, let's just lose. Let's talk about another team that was
I
kind
don't
of a.
even.
No, you know which one it is. You know which one it is.
I
It's
don't
our
even want
favorite
to.
team on this podcast, the Wildcats of Kentucky, losing to Mississippi State 31-17. Number 12, Kentucky. Number 12, Kentucky, right here, losing to Mississippi State, a 5-3 team. What's going on here? What's
I
going on?
I watched a decent amount of this game. It wasn't the main game. I was mainly watching the Ole Miss game. This was on my computer. But oh my gosh, that Kentucky team, they don't deserve they're ranked 12. They don't deserve to be ranked in the top 25. After today, I'm not even sure if they should be top 50. That was such a horrible performance against the average, above average range Mississippi State team. The quarterback threw 3 interceptions. Well, I don't know if they had any more, but when I turned the game off, they had 4 total turnovers to Mississippi State 0. I just don't know how you can beat Florida and they didn't look great against Georgia, but they looked better than Arkansas did. And then you just go and lose 31-17 to Mississippi State. And it was 31-10 going into the fourth. And they got 1 touchdown back. And then I feel like any time I looked at this game, Kentucky was throwing an interception. They got to the 10-yard line with like 10 seconds left in the half. Okay, you can get a touchdown to make it take the lead, or you can hit a field goal and make it a 1 point game going into the half. No, let's throw an interception and be down by 4 going into the half. And this Kentucky team, I gave y'all gave me hope this week with the -1 spread, and I really believed in Kentucky, but man, we we might as well just change our name to Kentucky Slander Pod, because not the state, but specifically the University of Kentucky, because Louisville has not done us any wrong, nor has the other schools in Kentucky, but the University of Kentucky, you
Dead to
were at
me.
the bottom. You were
Literally dead
below
to
the
me.
bottom of my bad list. Like my list of schools I hate, like there's a bottom tier to the list, which is like Ohio State and Michigan. And then under the list, there's Texas. And then under that list, there's Florida. And you're right in that mix right there, Kentucky. I can't hate anyone more than the University of Florida. But man, you're right there with Texas, which is pretty despicable. So Kentucky, I will never bet on you. Actually, I might bet against you for every week the rest of the year because you might have. I thought DJ was the worst quarterback in the country, but man, after watching that game, I will Levi. I'm sorry if you're hearing this. You're probably a decent dude, but man, you haven't even had a horrible season. But today, you really broke my heart. And now I hate your school. So thanks, Will. I will never support the University of Kentucky ever again until the day I die.
I love that. I love
I'm
that for
very
you.
passionate about this.
I could tell. I could tell. Um, Last game on our slate: Fresno State at San Diego State University. It's currently
Which
20-7 right now at halftime. Tony has them -1. I have no action on this game.
which I don't understand the coaching decision, as they were attempting a 55-yard field goal, and there was a timeout called, and he was short on the field goal. And instead of, with 7 seconds left, trying to get a few more yards, they decided to attempt it again, and surprise, surprise, he missed it. So,
Yeah,
I'm ready.
UCLA, baby, UCLA. Whew,
So
needed that.
unless UCLA really brings this back,
They
I'm a
don't have to
little
win it.
behind
All they
you.
have to do is
Lose by
get it within.
by 6.
Yeah, lose
Lose
by
by
6.
6. So I just if I finish 1-7 this week, I don't know.
Well, here's what it's looking like right now. If I calculate these totals up currently, I am at da da da. Okay, I'm currently at 3-5. Best case scenario, I can go 4-5. Okay, you are currently at 1-5. Best case scenario, you can go 3-5.
Mhm.
So
I'm
there you go.
not I'm not too psyched
But
about it, and of
most
course
likely, most likely gonna go 1-7. I'll go 3-6. I had 9 picks this week, which is kind of a lot. I didn't realize I had so many. Um,
I'm probably gonna lose my parlay for tomorrow too. So
yes, yes.
my luck this week.
Yeah. Um, but speaking of tomorrow, I think we both do. We're gonna do top tens, right? Top 10 teams.
Yes, we're gonna rank. Well,
Yep.
this will be today since we will be recording that half
In the
and then
morning, yeah. In the
putting
morning.
that in this. So we will be doing our top tens later in this podcast. And since it's the first college football playoff rankings coming out on Tuesday, we're gonna do what we feel, not what we think is gonna be the playoff rankings, but what we
Feel
personally
it should
feel
be
should be our the top 10 rankings. And I
precisely.
and so I'm gonna be doing my research tonight, and then I'm gonna I'm just gonna be in the lab all week looking at
Same.
what to take next week because I'm just in shock of how bad this week is. I might even take a Tuesday night Maction game. Oh, I've been missing my Tuesday and Wednesday night Mactions if I'm being honest. So I might take a Maction game, try and catch up a little bit. Um,
Tuesday night action. We got Ball State at Akron, Miami at Ohio. Miami, Ohio. What a matchup.
I know.
And
My
Eastern Michigan at Toledo. Wow, those are some crap.
I'm
But I
not
could
gonna
be into
lie.
it.
I'm not gonna lie. I can't wait for the spreads to come out because the Western Michigan, Central Michigan games look a little juicy to me.
Yeah,
I
no, it
plan on
does.
watching that Wednesday night.
Next week we have some decent games of football coming on.
How many
Let's
ranked
see,
matchups do we have?
we have Auburn
Auburn
and
and
Texas
A&M.
A&M. We're
Is
gonna have
Auburn legit? They might just be.
Auburn might be legit. Auburn might be
Uh,
legit.
Oklahoma State, West Virginia. That's not a horrible matchup. I kind of like it. Um,
We don't have a ton of
not a ton of top 25
rankouts.
matchups. So y'all heard it here first, folks. Our game of the week is officially Auburn at Texas A&M. So that was not hard to choose.
No, I'm going through the slate right now. If Kentucky had won Tennessee, Kentucky would be an intriguing game, but now it's just a game for nothing. Um,
Yeah,
Now, okay, we do have UTSA at UTEP, which I will be throwing money on next week.
I will too because both of these teams. I mean,
Are not
obviously,
bad.
those
In Conference USA.
obviously San Antonio is undefeated, but
But the
UTEP did lose.
Miners, not
They
bad.
did lose tonight to FAU, who hasn't been bad this year. But my favorite thing about this matchup is how these two teams have been horrible programs ever since I've been watching college football, and all of a sudden they're combined. What is this? 14-2.
Yeah, no, 14-2. Yeah,
Like
UTSA is undefeated.
I and ranked. Like I never thought I'd see
UTSA
the
has a
day.
claim to the throne. If
Like
I don't
I'm
see a
really
Georgia
excited for
UTSA
this.
matchup in the first round of the playoffs, I'm gonna be
Honestly,
upset.
I mean, I'm genuinely excited for both of these programs, and it's 10:15 at night, so obviously I'll be watching it. That's
Exactly. If
prime.
I'm not watching it late night.
That's our prime time. The 10:30 games.
Well, I mean, like I said, next week I get off at 11 a.m., so I'll have plenty of time to watch every game, which is going to be pretty
Exactly.
exciting. So I will have a banger Sunday podcast for you guys then, because I'll have a bunch of reasons why I'm so upset because of watching the game, not just checking the score. So that makes it even more exciting. And we also have a great game in two 4-4 SEC teams battling out to see if they can get bowl contention. We got Florida going into Columbia, South Carolina, to take on the Cox.
That's that is prime 7:30.
It's a
That's
7:30 game. Only
eh,
$33 a ticket. Could see me up there in Columbia.
hey, that's not a bad. That might not be a bad game. Well,
Honestly, I might actually think about going to that. um, but yeah,
uh,
should be kind of interesting. I'm trying to think of some other games we might even look at. Tennessee, Kentucky would be interesting to watch.
honestly, I do think UTEP and Utsa is probably our second tier game of the week.
I do too. I do too. It's
Like
gonna be. I think
that's
it's gonna be epic.
that's a great matchup. Put some respect on those Texas names.
Put some respect on the name.
If
I
I'm
love. I love Colorado State at Wyoming. That's a thriller. Little
hot
Mountain
take,
West matchup.
hot take, Texas San Antonio is the second best team in Texas this year.
Um,
I mean Baylor. Disagree with me.
I would say third best team because Texas is terrible.
Exactly.
And I will
Texas
never
is
forgive
Texas is
Texas for
terrible.
what they did against Oklahoma this season. I will never forgive that team.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, Texas A&M. Excuse me. I forgot about Texas A&M. Third
What were you
best.
thinking? I was thinking Texas A&M, Baylor,
Yeah, that's. I was
UTSA.
thinking Baylor. I forgot about Texas
Oh
A&M. Since yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to think of another one. The only thing I don't like about Cincinnati is that they're Cincinnati. There's something in my heart telling me that they're going to lose some stupid game this year.
I like Cincinnati because they're Cincinnati. Despite
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 hating the
going,
state of Ohio and the city of Cincinnati.
I have not visited enough of the state of Ohio, but I did not enjoy my time visiting the city of Cincinnati. So, but
Understandable.
I do have two University of Cincinnati T-shirts, and therefore I also like I really do enjoy the group of five teams trying to make it into the playoff, and Cincinnati's the best shot. So, but I would not be surprised if they lose one of these random games. Maybe not to Tulsa, definitely not to USF. SMU did just lose to.
To Houston, but Houston's not bad.
He's okay. I don't see them losing to SMU. Honestly, yeah, they're. I don't see how they lose any of these games. If there was an upset, well, I don't think USF has any use in putting money into a football
No.
program. They might as well just shut that down.
You know what I
Um,
like? I like Georgia Tech at Miami. Definitely taking Miami by whatever it is. Miami's hot.
I'm
Miami's
gonna
cooking
look
with
at.
some peanut oil. They're not losing to Georgia Tech at home either.
I'm gonna wait for these
Lines to come out, yeah.
lines to come out. I'm gonna have to go full blown research
In
and
the
just.
laboratory, bro.
I
I
will
am.
definitely be staying up until 2 a.m. when I have to wake up at 8 for work the next morning. And I will be tired and I will kind of care.
Yeah,
But
I'm getting the lab coat on, and I am putting on the glasses, and I'm sitting here in the dark in front of the computer, and I'm figuring some stuff out.
yeah, because
Otherwise, I think we gotta wrap it up now. We're running out of time
and then
for
we'll
this. If we still want to go tomorrow, what
and
are you
then
saying?
we'll get our yes. I was gonna say we're gonna get our top tens in tomorrow slash after this break for the listeners.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just after this quick break we're gonna have for you guys. But as always, we hope you enjoyed your Saturday. We hope you guys had profitable days, more profitable than ours, and we will be right back after this break. And we are back. Welcome back to the Poor Man's Playbook. You're listening to this at 1 o'clock on Sunday mornings when we're recording right now. Sunday afternoon, I guess now. Calling it the morning because I haven't walked out of the house yet. Um,
For
but this
real.
is last night. We did our recaps. That's going to be the first half of this episode, and now we are going to go over our own personal top tens before the APs come out, and before the college playoffs come out. So we're gonna go over our top tens, see if we have similar. I'm not gonna lie, this was a little harder than I anticipated, Tony.
Yeah, this was. I thought it was going to be easy, and then every time I looked at a different ranking, I'm like, you know what? This is not as easy as I thought it was going to be.
Exactly. So we're gonna get into that. First, I just want to go over our entire updated stats from yesterday of college football betting. So I went 3-6, and Tony went 1-7. First number being the win, the second number being the losses. It puts
Thank
us for the
you.
total season. I am at 18-22, and Tony's at 18-21, putting me half a game back. It's honestly been a pretty close race. Pretty close race. A little bounce back for me. I had a bad week, but not as bad as Tony's.
No,
Um,
I was genuinely so happy with the Michigan State win that it took my energy away from everyone else, and then it's just I was sick to my stomach yesterday, but I'm hoping some of the I hit a hockey game last night and I hit a soccer game this morning. So I have another soccer game right now. I got two parlays going for NFL, so trying to turn this luck around. Come back after hitting our lab with our doctorates in locksmithing. We're gonna come back strong next week.
exactly, exactly. Um, all right, so it's
Ready to
been
get in.
total season against the spread 16-18. Tony's 17-17. So a little behind him on that, and then total season money line. I'm 2-3. Tony's 1-5. I'm great at the money line. I'm
I'm
batting
not.
400% from the money line box. Tony's hitting 167. So
I'm below that dreaded Mendoza line.
yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, and then our combined best teams, Michigan State propels itself to 7-0, a firm lead for us with Michigan State.
Those Sparties, baby.
And Oklahoma State's still going to be our number 2 team at 4-0. After that, we have pretty much a tie between Michigan and Georgia at 2-1 apiece. I just didn't really want to include them because we have only battled them 3 times. And then Oregon
Yeah,
State's at 3-2, but Oregon State let us down, so I kind of hate them
big
now.
time.
All right, let's dive into these top tens. Okay, so I think we just go back and forth. Our number
Start at
one,
10.
number one, number 10. We'll start at 10. Okay. Okay. Well, this is gonna be stupid then. Like,
Okay, let's start at
it's
1 then. Let's
let's start
start at
at
1
one because
then.
I know we both have the same one, but it's mine gets real weird after like 3.
So we both have Cincinnati at 1, right?
um,
Why are you laughing? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I know you're kidding. It's UGA,
It's
right?
yeah. It's
Okay.
Georgia. Georgia. There's no need to explain that.
I'm not gonna go into depth about this. Yeah, I have Georgia as my number one. We don't even have to talk
Easy.
about that. Let's go to number
Yeah.
2. You want to say it first or me?
I I this is it got tricky here. One was easy, and then after this it got tricky.
I found it tricky.
I went with Ohio State.
Okay, that's interesting.
It is
I went
interesting.
with Cincinnati.
Okay.
I feel like you can't take anything from Cincinnati. I mean, they've been doing their job. They had that one like week against Navy that I feel like they could have played a little better. But it was
I
Navy,
I
right? Yeah.
I took to this poll not based on the AP poll, but based strictly as if I'm the college football playoff poll coming out with no previous rankings and just going
Mm.
straight from how the seasons looked.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I kind of used like just rankings prior a little bit to kind
Hmm.
of like what I would do it as. But I mean, still, like I'll stand by Cincinnati. You know, they're undefeated. They haven't lost a game in a long time, and
Okay.
you
I
know,
like Cincinnati.
I don't hate them there, right?
Yeah.
Um, okay, my number 3 is Oklahoma. Um,
Okay.
I felt like my problem with OSU is that they lost to Oregon, who I have Oregon on this list as well, but I don't think that Oregon's that great of a team. I only have them on the list because, like Cincinnati, they're kind of just doing their job right now, and I don't see a way to knock them out of the top 10. So I have Oklahoma though. I mean, they're undefeated right now. They've had some close games, and they were undefeated with Spencer Rattler, and he sucks. So now with Caleb Williams, I mean, that guy is something special. I mean, the guy has like Heisman potential with only playing like a set amount of games this season. So I don't know. I like Oklahoma. They're undefeated as well. So I figured you got to give something to the undefeated teams in college football. I feel like that says something. So I have Oklahoma at my 3 spot.
We took completely different routes. I went with Alabama at number 3.
Okay, that's
I just
interesting.
think I just think based on teams, I really think Ohio, because with Ohio State, I know they lost to Oregon, but after their loss, they hadn't played anyone until yesterday. But they really took off, and they've won every game without question. And like we said yesterday, Penn State's not a bad team. They were upset, but I don't think that reflects their team. And they went and it was a close game, but they handled Penn State. They had the lead most of the game, and I found that to be an impressive win. So that's why I had Ohio State at 2, and Alabama. I don't know how I feel about their loss. I think they're right behind Ohio State, but I'm not really need to see Caleb Williams against a good team, and I really don't think Texas is a good team. So that's why I do not have Oklahoma that high up.
I hear that. That makes sense to me. I mean, my number 4 spot is Bama.
Okay.
Um, I I think that Bama is the 4th best team in the country. I don't see how you exclude them out of the playoffs. I mean, I think now also, if you look in retrospect, like a few weeks ago, it's like, oh my gosh, they lost to Texas A&M. This is terrible. But now if you look at it, Texas A&M was ranked 14th this weekend.
Yeah, they're
They're taking care
what,
of
6 and
business.
2.
Yeah, they're a good football team. I mean, I think Texas A&M just had like a weird kind of start, but they're a good football team. So I don't think that
Mm-hmm.
Texas A&M's a bad loss at all.
Neither do
It was
I.
also a 3-point game, and it came down to a field goal. I mean, obviously Texas A&M controlled it in the first half, but we've seen a couple games this season where Alabama doesn't turn it on until the second half. In the case of the Tennessee game, not until the fourth quarter. But when they do turn
Yeah,
it on, they're the best team in the. I mean,
in the
I
country.
think when they turn it on, they're the best team in the country. I think that their ability to just like really just lay it on people is something special. Because Georgia controls the game from the get go. Bama is just like a switch. It's like either they're
Yeah,
going to be on, or like they're like either they're there and they're kind of holding it, or they're just like blowing you out of the water. But I have
exactly.
Bama at my 4th pick. Who's your 4 spot?
I have Cincinnati at 4.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
do I like them in the playoff, but just like based on kind of schedule wise, I don't see them above Ohio State or Alabama right now, and they
Hmm.
don't really play anyone the rest of the season. So, but I do like them to be in that playoff spot.
Yep. So who's your 5?
My 5, Michigan State.
Okay.
I think it was hard for me not to include them in the top 4, but I do think Michigan is a
No
good
bias.
team.
No bias.
No bias. That's what if it was biased, if I had bias, they'd be number 2. My no bias is them at number 5. I think Michigan's a good team. They've had some close games, which is why I have them below Cincinnati and Alabama, but I think that Michigan win really cemented how good of a team they really are. And Kenneth Walker just did Kenneth Walker things. And so I got them right just out of that playoff spot going into this week. Who do you got?
I had Ohio State right here. For the reasons I listed before, I just don't have Ohio State in because I am looking at it like UGA, Cincy, Oklahoma are all the undefeated teams, and then I think the best one-loss team in the country is Alabama. I think that Alabama beats Ohio State. So I couldn't put Ohio State any higher than I had it. I thought about it a lot because at first I had them at like 3 and 4, and I was like, I don't agree with this. I just think that Oregon loss is a big time thing. I know that they've gotten it kind of wrapped around, but I think that Oregon's going to end up outside of the top 10 after the end of the season. And again, like I said, like as far as one loss teams go, I think Texas A&M is better than Oregon. Um, so that's kind of how I'm looking at that right there. So I think
I wouldn't
OSU would
disagree.
need to win the Big Ten to make it to the playoffs for me. All right, number 6. I have Michigan State at number 6.
Okay.
I was thinking a lot about 5, but I couldn't move them to 5 because I just didn't see any. I know they're undefeated, um, but I still think that OSU is better than Michigan State.
Yeah, you really can't tell until they play each other later in the season.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I just think that like OSU, like I just feel like has more offense.
I mean, I have OSU ranked above them right now too, so
Yeah, I not that that Michigan win wasn't awesome, and Michigan's still in my top 10. I don't know about you, but
same.
yeah. So, what's your number 6 pick?
Mine's Oklahoma.
Okay,
I just want to see them do something against a
a regular
good
team.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that. I don't think we need to do much explaining for that. What's
No.
your number 7 spot?
I got Michigan at 7.
Michigan at 7. Okay.
I think that Michigan State game, I thought it was a good game. McNamara looked great out there. The only thing is Michigan State stepped up when they needed to, and that's why Michigan State came out on top. But I thought it was a good game. I think both teams proved themselves. Michigan State just had that extra grind, and so I think I gotta say I respect Michigan. And a one loss, and your one loss is to an undefeated Michigan State team. Like that's a good loss. So I got them at number 7.
Okay, I don't mind it. I have Oregon staying at number 7. Like I said, mine was a little different. I kind of went about it with yours. Like I kind of just tried to factor in at least some of the past into it instead of just looking purely. But I mean, Oregon took care of business this
Yeah,
week. They beat up on I don't remember who they played, but I remember checking the score and it was like a good amount. So they did their job. I didn't want to move them from there. And they
I
also
get
beat
that.
OSU, who if I think OSU is in the 5 spot, I know that Oregon has lost to Stanford, but you know, I'm kind of just feeling Oregon right there. I just didn't know really where to move them to. I wasn't going to drop them out of my top 10 or something.
Yeah,
And I didn't think that Michigan was earning of the 7 spot, considering there were 6 just lost to 8. So I didn't really want to put them just at 7, because that's not how I was thinking about it. My 8 spot is Michigan, though.
my 8 spot's Oregon, so we're just swapped on
Okay,
that one.
okay, yeah. So yeah, just swapped on that. So pretty close on those.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go over it again. Why?
I just put Michigan up because I like their loss to Michigan State better than Oregon's loss to Stanford.
Yep.
And that was the only reason that I had them swapped.
Yeah. What's your number 9?
This is where it
This is
got
where it gets
weird.
weird. This is
Yeah.
where I think it got weird.
I was between like 5 teams between the 9 and 10 spots. But I actually took Auburn. Um, I
Wow,
really
that's a
I
shocker. I'm not gonna
that
lie.
I just I I really just thought Auburn kind of their win yesterday really impressed me. I mean, it was a little bit of poor coaching from Lane Kiffin, as we said earlier in this podcast, how angry I am at Lane Kiffin, but they just beat a ranked Ole Miss the week before. They beat a ranked Arkansas. They lost to Georgia, and they lost to Penn State, who we have both said is a good team. Um, but I mean, they've had some iffy results, but since their loss to Georgia, they've kind of turned it up a notch, and now they got to play Texas A&M this week, who's going to be the real deal. But I, I got Auburn at 9. I don't see another team really being above them in this little next section of teams. Who do you
Yeah, I
got?
just I just couldn't do it because I just was like judging just from like also looking at like the polls and stuff. Like I just can't see like 18 Auburn beating 10 Old Miss, who's I mean at the 10 spot, and then putting them ahead of them like that. I think Ole Miss was probably a little overranked in that kind of way. Um, I would if like we did 12. I think Auburn would be my 12 spot or 11 spot. Um, but I didn't put them up there. 2-loss team. I didn't want them in there. Um, so I did not do that. I had Notre Dame.
Okay.
Notre Dame was 11th, I think.
Hmm.
And they took care of business. I mean,
UNC is not a bad team. They just
UNC's not a bad team. I
they're
know Notre Dame.
inconsistent.
I know Notre Dame scrapes by their wins, but they've been scraping by their wins for, I mean, as long as Notre Dame's been a football school. So,
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not going to take it away from them. I mean, their loss, they only have one loss, I believe, and it's to Cincinnati. So,
Yeah.
and Cincinnati's my number 2. So, I like Notre Dame at my 9 spot. Um, I said this earlier on the podcast. Who my number 10 would be? It's Wake Forest,
Okay.
undefeated. I mean, you gotta give some props to the ACC. I mean, this team's 8-0 right now. They can put up points. They put up 70 points in one game. I think that's unreal.
Yeah. Even though they was at 70 to 56 against
56.
Army, still putting up 70 points is insanity.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane, and
Against FBS school, you don't see that often
yeah,
against
exactly.
FBS school outside of the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean Wake Forest was 13th, I believe. I jumped them
Yes.
up because I know that like Oklahoma State did not play this weekend. I didn't want to give a bye team like a big. I didn't want to give like a bye team like just a week of being like I didn't want to get them ahead by just being on a bye. I didn't think that was fair.
Fair.
Um, and otherwise, I mean, if you look at it, like Ole Miss lost. Um, I was not going to put Baylor up there. I don't think that Baylor is better than Wake Forest is. Um, yeah, like I said, I mean, the other teams were just on buys. Iowa's obviously out. Um, so and Kentucky's out. So I
Yeah.
thought that Wake Forest was the next to move up. I think pretty interchangeable with Texas A&M. But like I said, Texas A&M did not play, so I didn't put them in. Yeah, and Oklahoma State has that one loss to Iowa State, which I don't really like, and so I feel like you have to give the ACC a little bit of love. Top 10 undefeated team, so that's why I got a top 10. What about you?
Um. Well, I have a tie at 10, and it's actually between Notre Dame and Wake Forest.
Gotta pick one, Tony.
So if I picked one to put at 10,
Now you get to pick one. You're on a TV show. You gotta pick one.
then I'd go with Wake Forest because we're undefeated,
That's
and then I'd
polite to
have
hear.
Notre Dame at 11, and then if we went to 12, I'd have A&M at 12.
Yeah,
So, well,
yeah,
I guess
I get
since we
that.
both said we're going to 12, I guess we kind of went to 12 today. But I digress. I
only typed in the top 10, so
yeah, same here. But I agree. I like Wake Forest. I mean, I think them and Notre Dame are at that same level. And like you said, Notre Dame's lost to Cincinnati. That's a good loss. And Wake Forest is undefeated. And frankly, I don't see they. This is probably their toughest schedule. The last four games is probably the toughest their schedule's going to get. North Carolina, NC State, Clemson, and Boston College isn't great, but their next three games are probably the hardest games they have of the year, and I don't see them losing. I mean, they're
yeah, I'm looking at it right
they're
now.
at
They gotta
home
play
to because they're at home to
UNC.
NC State, and NC State's probably their best opponent. But I don't see them losing. Wake Forest can go undefeated and win the ACC. I don't.
If
I
Wake
really.
Forest goes undefeated, though, I mean, if we really think about this, like if Wake goes undefeated, like
I don't know how you keep them out of the playoffs like that. You can't rank them below 5.
well, I don't think you rank them below Cincinnati. Again, no hate on Cincinnati, but like Wake Forest, like the ACC is better than the AAC. Like,
Exactly.
so that's the problem with when it comes to the playoffs. I understand what the AP is and all that, but like when it comes to the actual playoffs, which is kind of like what I picked these for right now, was like the
Mhm.
playoff rankings.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the playoffs, I don't see how you would put Wake Forest behind Cincinnati, barring both those teams go undefeated. Um,
Yeah, I see a close win against Syracuse and Louisville better than a close win to Navy.
yeah, I could see that. And I don't know. It could be interesting. I mean, obviously the thing is that people would have to lose for Wake Forest to get up there.
Yeah.
Because I think they're kind of really underranked right now.
Which will right now, if you look at the AP, obviously college football playoff is different, but if you look at the AP ahead of them, Kentucky 12, they're 13. Kentucky at 12, Ole Miss at 10, Iowa at 9, all lost. And then I don't think they jumped Michigan, who is at 6, but that's three teams they jump immediately in the AP.
They
And
have to be a top 10 team. I
yeah,
don't understand how they're not an AP top 10 team. Is
when
what
the
it is.
AP poll comes out today, I don't see how they're not at 9 or 10. So
Nor do I. So I think that they have to be. Um,
and if they're at 10, what Michigan State and Ohio State play at some point. Michigan and Ohio State play. So that's at least two losses in the top 10. And then Alabama could lose to Auburn, or that I wouldn't see them drop that far, but Alabama and Georgia have to play. We both think Oregon's going to drop somewhere. So,
Oregon's gonna lose a game soon.
but I mean, if Georgia, Cincinnati, Oklahoma, and Wake Forest all go undefeated and win their conferences, there's going to be a lot of controversy to deal with when this play when if that does end up happening. It probably won't, but if it does end up happening where those four teams all are undefeated, it's going to be tough for
I
the
mean, could you
college
imagine
football
if something
committee.
crazy happened, like Georgia beats Bama in the SEC championship, Bama's knocked out, they have two losses. OSU goes down to Michigan State. Michigan State finds their way into the playoff.
We could
Then
have
you
five
have like
undefeated conference
you
champions.
have you have Cincinnati, Georgia, Michigan State,
Wake
and
Forest.
then Wake Forest in there because all the other teams would have had a loss. And I don't know how if you have the ACC champion and the undefeated Wake Forest, if they give it to Clemson every year, why wouldn't they give it to? Because
Wake
if Wake
Forest.
Forest runs the table, it's essentially the exact same thing as Clemson running the table every year,
Yep.
and then winning an easy ACC championship against like a 7-5 or an 8-4 Virginia or something like that, and then going to the playoff. I don't see how. I honestly think that like Wake Forest is criminally underranked right now for what they're doing, and I would be very. I'd be shocked if somehow if they went undefeated, if they didn't find their way into the playoff because I mean it would just be total bias at that point. Like why would it be given to Clemson multiple years in a row? Even Clemson with one loss will get it. But
Hmm.
it's like why would you not let Wake Forest
I gotta agree
in
with
there?
you on
So
that.
I think that's why I had to have them in the top 10. Like same with you and like when it's coming to the playoffs now, like after next week, if they win again next week, like I would be ranking them above a lot of one-loss teams on this list. Like
So would
I would
I.
have to leapfrog them over Notre Dame and Michigan probably because if you're 9-0, that's like that's serious at that point. I feel like.
The only one team, if they win again next week, the only one team, the one lost teams that I would have above them would be Alabama and Ohio State. Like, I'd even have them jump Oregon.
I would have them jump Oregon as well probably because I mean you saw the Oregon Cal game. That was like a really close game and Cal's like obviously a little better than we thought, but like
Mhm.
I
But
still I
Wake
mean they're a good
Forest is
football team
finishing games. they,
and
they
they're
didn't
winning
lose to
games
Stanford.
like
Yeah.
and they cover
It's,
like
especially if they go, because UNC is a good team, NC State's a good team. And I don't know if you can call Clemson a good team this year, but they're not bad.
they're not terrible.
Excuse
I mean,
me.
they have a great defense. Not great, but they have a
Yeah.
good defense, and they have a really good pass defense.
So I think if they finish undefeated against those teams, like finishing off against those teams, it's hard to not put them that high. But yeah, we could easily finish with five undefeated conference champions, and though
One,
it would just be criminal if they.
Michigan, Ohio State have to play each other during the regular season too.
Yes,
So those are two teams that
and
if Wake
Michigan
Forest
State and
keeps
Ohio State do too.
if Wake Forest keeps winning, then these teams will be shaken up. I mean, if you see
Yeah,
Ohio State fall to Michigan, or I think that I think Ohio State will probably beat Michigan and Michigan State. Um, I'm hoping Michigan State wins. I want to think that they will, but my gut tells me Ohio State probably will. But
I
still,
kind of agree with you. I really want Michigan State to run the table, but it's going to be hard to beat Ohio State.
at the very least, though, you would have Michigan be knocked out of the top 10 because they'd have two
Yeah,
losses. And then I mean maybe they'd be at the lower part, but Wake Forest will leapfrog them. And
exactly.
then I mean either Ohio State or Michigan State would be leapfrogged by Wake Forest at that point in the season. If you have a 10-0, 11-0 Wake Forest team, you can't put them behind a team that has one loss. I mean, I just don't not in a major conference like the ACC, especially when you have Cincinnati sitting up there. I mean, that's the outliers. Like, if you put Cincinnati up there because they're undefeated in the AAC, I know the ACC is not a strong conference this season, but they're better than the AAC. So I
Hmm.
don't I don't think that you can put I mean, I'm a big Demon Deacons guy this season. You know.
It's going to be interesting to see what upsets happen and how these other games play out because
Exactly.
it's not going to be. I mean, we can think all this could happen right now, but there's going to be some random upset where Cincinnati loses to one of those American teams or Wake Forest loses to UNC this week. So I don't. So anything can happen. So it's
No,
going to be
exactly.
interesting to see how these last few weeks really come into play.
Exactly. All right, well, that's all I have for this one. For our Sunday recap. Otherwise, you can check our Twitter for our NFL bets. I don't want to talk about it because it looks like I'm going to lose already. Um, you have anything else to add?
That's it for me. We'll be back on Thursday.
Yep, we'll be back on Thursday, so tune in. This has been our first Sunday episode of The Poor Man's Playbook. Thank you.
Thank you.